people want to know about the difficult fiscal time and taxes. You know, one of the most difficult things, and I've had this happen to me more than once, when you have a widowed lady that is practically crying because it is so difficult for her to stay in the home she's lived in her entire life because of the taxes. You know, that sort of thing bothers me and eats at me. And that is something that really bothers me, but the answer, the economy also, and taxes.
Response to his question about the survey, unfortunately I know the ordinance pretty well. The requirement for a building permit for a new house is an official survey. That is a county ordinance requirement. So that's probably where that's coming from.
Is that a building code requirement? A state building code?
No, that's the county ordinance.
Okay. Well, I guess I think that's wrong then.
Yeah. Well, yeah, it's kind of one of the situations, you know, you don't know who requires it, but that is actually in the ordinance. As he has alluded to, as in the older population out there, a statistic I just recently have seen was that there's 1.6 million people in the United States that are retirees. Their homes are in foreclosure. That is really a shocking statistic to me. That here, when you're supposed to enjoy your golden years, you're warning you might have to move back with your kids instead of the other way around. That's one of the things I hear. This will give me a minute leeway because our district is really diverse in agricultural. Another thing that I hear from every township is that our judicial system is non-existent. Most of it is just a line on a map. County Road 35 is habitually underwater. Our county engineer said it cost $1 million to fix it. Well, if you take care of the water, you don't have that $1 million to take to fix the road. They need somebody else to look at that and find a better answer.
And I haven't made a point to talk to the department heads, but I ended up talking to a few of them during the campaign. But what I've done is gone door to door and I've talked to people. That's who I want to be accountable to. And the main thing that I've come across, and that's what I speak to, is this government that just keeps coming and coming and coming. And it's not necessarily all at the county level. It's the EPA, it's the DNR, it's the whatever it is that just keeps coming. And people just feel less free. And Ken spoke to that. I'm a 21-year veteran of the U.S. Navy. I fought for this country and I said, I don't want to see my freedoms disappear. And I said, we have it at the county level too, where we can push this back. I did hear other issues too, as far as a little bit on transportation. So like I said, I spoke to some of the things with the taxes and stuff, but really most of the people, when they look at their tax statement, they're going to find it's their school district that's taking most of their money. But I really think we need to push this regulation and rules that just keep coming. We need to hold that in check.
I think most of it depends who you talk to. The people I talk to from the cities, it's going to kind of sound kind of silly, but they say, what does the county do even for me? Because they deal with their city councils and their mayors, and they're not aware of the police protection, human services. Just if they're not involved with that, it just flies over their head. They don't even realize what happens with that. And the township people, because they're more directly related to their own government, they're more aware of what goes on with the county as far as their planning and zoning issues and stuff. But I haven't had anybody say anything terrible about the commissioners or anything like that, except the usual, well, the taxes are too high. But I can tell you, after 16 years of being on city council, I've never heard the taxes are too low. I don't know if they're too high right now. I don't think they're outrageously high for the county level, to be fair. I don't. I've been, last 4 years in the council, I reduced taxes from 2007, from 2007 budget to 2010. Dylan, we reduced our expenditure $64,000 in those 4 years. So I can do that. Now I have the hands up for the first time, so I'll quit.
Okay, last question. What are your thoughts about the use of eminent domain by cities and counties? Who gets to go first? Pat wants to go first.
I'll take that. Are you talking about for 2 feet of right-of-way on a road that's absolutely required, or are you talking about taking somebody's house because somebody else thinks they got a better plan for their property? What are you talking about?
Let's go with taking the house for somebody else?
Well, I absolutely 100% oppose it, and I would do everything in my effort to stop it. I know there was a question here when we came and did the oral interviews, and it was about what if there's one person holding up a development because they don't want to sell their property? Well, if they don't want to sell their property, the developer's looking at the wrong land, okay? We need to match them up with some land where the developer, where people want to sell their property, because property rights is fundamental to being an American and being able to, if you don't want to sell your property, you don't have to. Now, back to roads, you know, I've voted against condemnation for road projects sometimes because I thought that well, for example, with a trail or that sort of thing, where I didn't think it was essential to the project. So I voted against some for, like I say, for a trail on, for the one that goes from Buffalo to 12. There was a lot of property owners that were against that, and it went substantially towards their property. And in that, I voted against that because I thought the taking was too much, and I didn't think, and I thought, you know what? We can go back towards the road, and we don't have to do it that way. We can do it. We can even do the trail, and I don't even know if the trail is a good idea. We can do without it. So I voted against condemnation a number of times. Sometimes property owners actually want you to do it because they know they want the project done, but you're arguing about the price, and the condemnation process will get you to the price. In those cases, it makes good sense to go that way.
I do remember the same question in the questionnaire. I was surprised you asked it.
I didn't ask the question, by the way.
Okay,
Just-
but my response to that was too is that you know, I'm absolutely through you know, personal property rights. I've seen other projects where someone didn't sell, they still worked around it. There's ways of doing it. They don't have to involve eminent domain within this, and it's actually I think it's too big a freewheeling billy club that they're using in the areas, or in the state right now. So.
Again, we had kind of a little process that led up to this, and that was one of the questions where a landowner were holding out on a large development. It's going to be 400 jobs for the county, and I said no, I would not support it. I said I would facilitate, I would try to mediate, find some other land, see if I could meet with the landowner and find out if he would be willing to relocate and whatever. I do a lot of things to do that, but I would not be willing to use for economic development. I would not be able to use the condemnation process that way. But the other thing is, we had this kind of came up when I was on the school board at Howard Lake, and like Pat spoke about, we had people that did not want to sell their land. We built a new school, if you're aware of it, between Howard Lake and Winsted. And we said, well, some of the people said, well, we could go in and we could go ahead and take the land, you know, and go through that process. And the majority of our board said, no, there's other land around, we don't need that, and we're going to go find something where we have a willing seller. And that's what we ended up doing.
The answer to that for economic development, generally speaking, is no. I can honestly tell you, though, I cannot guarantee you that would never happen. I certainly wouldn't kick a little old lady out of her house, but if some speculator bought a farm or piece of land knowing that development was taking place and is holding up for a higher price, it might happen. And in fact, have you ever done economic development condemnation? I don't know.
No.
Can the county do it?
It's not even allowed in Minnesota statute
I
anymore.
didn't-
Cities
I
can't
didn't-
even do
I
it
didn't
anymore. The
think
law
so.
changed a few
Yeah,
years
I
ago.
didn't think so. Cities can do it. We've done it for drainage projects, and that's why when I answered that question, I was going to ask you if it was legal, because I didn't think it was. Thank you.
Not for economic development, because
Not anymore.
it went to the Supreme Court and they said it was legal, and ultimately states then finally started correcting that problem.
But you
So as
still
of a
could
few
do
years
it for
ago.
trails or drainage or something like that. Yes.
He did.
Pat pretty much gave my answer to this question. I'm opposed to eminent domain. I think a lot of it, like they were just discussing, goes back to the Best Buy situation down in Bloomington, where after that went through, they've changed the laws immensely, and I think you guys kind of touched on it a little bit, that cities are not even allowed to do eminent domain anymore, I don't believe. I don't think it's legal in the state of Minnesota.
For economic development.
For economic development. And so, no, I'm not in favor of eminent domain, and I don't think it's necessary.
Larry Kukowski, District 2. Not in favor of eminent domain because not for economic development, it's just a bad thing. not even a good thing to look at when you're doing for government. If you can, like we stated, go around and do something else, that would be a better idea. So keep the people's right to keep their property. That's very important in this country.
Okay, that's it.